So the numbers are in, and it looks like the Robot Revolution had overnight numbers of about 2 million, just over 2 million slightly, which are historically low. Now, to be fair, you have to look at that as, you know, how it did overnight. Like I heard it was like the second most watched on this and the fourth most watched on that. I do think 2 million is low. Now, a lot of people will point out, well, that's because it went up on the iPlayer hours, many hours before it actually aired on television. And I'm sure that is a factor. I do believe that. Because let's be honest, us Doctor Who fans, a lot of us, like, more than just casual Doctor Who fans, you know, we're not going to wait for the broadcast. We want to see it as soon as we can see it. So we're going to get up, we're going to get on, well, I guess in a lot of y'all's cases, the iPlayer. I don't have iPlayers, I'm in the States, but I watch it on Disney+. I really wish they would reveal the Disney Plus numbers. You know, you're going to watch it as soon as you can because, well, let's just be honest, a lot of us Doctor Who fans were very dedicated. So I do firmly believe that that is part of it. I think if it didn't go up on the iPlayer until after the live broadcast, the numbers would be higher for the overnights. I do firmly believe that. I'm sure that's part of it. Now, I don't know how much higher. For me, overnights aren't as important. I do still think we need to know them. Like, I'm never a fan of censoring knowledge. So I really think that we should definitely keep posting and publishing them. But I don't count them as important as I was used to since the episode is available before the live broadcast. And many people will have watched it then. The consolidated is what I'm interested in. The 7-day consolidated numbers, which I believe should include the iPlayer. That's the thing I'm excited about. That's what I want to see. I want to see how much that jumps from the 2 million. I want to see what that number is. That, to me, the 7-day consolidated are the more important numbers now. And that'll give us, I think, a bit of a pulse check on where Doctor Who is now with the fandom. Now, some people will try to say, well, you can't expect, you know, old Doctor Who numbers because the landscape has changed. And yeah, okay, I get it. The landscape has changed. I addressed that already, talking about the iPlayer. Streaming is different. TV is different. I will agree with you, the landscape has changed. And there's a lot more shows to watch out there now. It's not like even in classic Doctor Who day when you had like 4 channels. You know, there's a lot more shows. There's just a lot more being shoved in your face these days. Anyway, not just television. You got YouTube. You have just the internet in general. There's a lot more going on in the world. It's such a fast-paced world we live in now, even over the Russell T Davies 1 era. But I think the one thing a lot of these people who try really hard to scream, the numbers don't matter anymore, the numbers don't matter anymore, some of these Doctor Who channels that, well, you can't go by the numbers. They're forgetting, I think, one basic fact. While I will agree with some of the things they say, such as the landscape being different, and definitely the iPlayer, the episode being available on iPlayer, affecting the overnights, I think the consolidateds are still an important number. Because at the end of the day, these people that are like, well, these numbers are pretty good for now. The end of the day, my argument is people who want to watch Doctor Who are going to watch Doctor Who. And with the 7-day consolidated numbers, they have a 7-day window to watch Doctor Who. Anyone who truly loves Doctor Who, is a Doctor Who fan, they're going to find time in that 7 days to watch the episode. For the most part. I get, you know, there are these people who work, 72 jobs in a week or whatever. These people who work a lot. I've worked 2 jobs myself at times. I've had times where I've worked 3 jobs. I understand what it's like to be so busy that, life just gets away from you and you don't have a chance to watch it. I get that there are some people who might not be able to catch it in that 7-day window just because they're busy. But for most people, you're going to be able to find 45 minutes to watch this episode if you truly want to watch this episode. So the only people, for the most part, in that 7-day window that aren't going to watch Doctor Who are the people that didn't want to watch Doctor Who. That's my main thing. Well, how come we didn't have more views? Because people decided not to watch. Now, I know the coping will begin and people will be like, well, the problem in Britain was the weather was really good that week. What? What that's the stupidest excuse I have heard for anything ever. Well, the weather was really good, so people didn't watch Doctor Who. I have had times in my life, even here in Mississippi, where the weather is bipolar, where I have had fantastic weather, and I've still watched Doctor Who. The weather looks nice out today, but I'm going to go watch this episode of Doctor Who because I like Doctor Who. Good weather isn't going to stop me from watching Doctor Who. Now, every now and then it might be a situation where one of my friends is like, hey, the weather's nice. Let's get out and go do lunch. Okay, I might be like, holding off on Doctor Who for the moment and go have lunch with my friend. But then I get back home and Doctor Who is waiting for me there. So it's weird when they come up with these excuses where the weather's really nice or, well, something really good was happening that weekend. They had 5 other days. Anyone who wants to watch the Robot Revolution somewhere in that 7 days, more than likely has time to watch the Robot Revolutions. Now, if you're at home and you have 6 kids, fair enough. You might not have time to watch the Robot Revolution. My best friend has 4 kids. He does not have a lot of free time. Fine. You have more than 3 kids? I get it. But I think most people, if they wanted to watch this episode within a 7-day window, they probably had an opportunity to watch this episode. And if they didn't watch this episode, it's because it was not high enough on their priority list to do so. They might have decided it was more important to do something else, like go outside in the nice weather. I love Doctor Who. I import the UK stuff. I'm in the States. I import the steelbooks. I import these. I even have the series 1 and 2 steelbooks, which are expensive now. I have them. Obviously, I'm a Doctor Who fan. The nice weather outside isn't going to keep me from my Doctor Who. When the episode airs, I watch it. I watch it as soon as I get a chance to. I watched it Saturday. So, people who want to watch Doctor Who are going to watch Doctor Who. If you're a Doctor Who fan, you're going to watch Doctor Who. If you haven't watched Doctor Who in that 7-day window, it's because you didn't want to. More than likely. It's because you chose not to. There was something higher on your priority list. And I think part of it is that some fans just aren't as enamored with the show as they used to be. And so it's not as high on their priority list as it might have been. Maybe they were big into the show during the Capaldi era, the Tennant era, the Smith era, or maybe classic Doctor Who, Tom Baker, John Pertwee, and just wherever the show is at now, it's not important enough for them to tune in. So anyone who says the numbers don't matter, you're wrong. The numbers matter. The numbers matter. Keeping in mind that the population of the planet is higher now than it ever has been. With what, 8 billion, 10 billion people on the planet now? Far more than what was on the planet in the 70s. You look at City of Death. I don't ever expect Doctor Who to get City of Death numbers. No other episode of Doctor Who has ever gotten City of Death numbers. Let's be honest. City of Death Part 4, 16.1 million. That's still the record. No other episode has gotten that. I don't expect an episode to get that. But people are like, well, it only got those numbers because ITV was, having a strike. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, but they still chose to watch it. They didn't have to do that. They could have been like, man, the only thing on is Doctor Who. Oh, it's a nice day outside. I think I'll go outside instead. They didn't. Instead, they said, you know what? We're going to watch Doctor Who. Because 16.1 million viewers said, I want to watch Doctor Who. And people, like I said before, people who want to watch Doctor Who are going to watch Doctor Who. Especially in today's world where they can watch it anytime they want. Doctor Who has never been more accessible than it is right now, with all of it being on the iPlayer, or in other countries being available in different ways. Here in America, it's a little trickier. You got to have all sorts of different things to get it all. But still, it's available. You can watch it. And while I agree, that can also be part of the reason why the overnight's lower. You don't have to catch it on that initial broadcast. City of Death Part 4, you pretty much had to catch it on that initial broadcast. Maybe that's one of the reasons the numbers are so high. Maybe one of the reasons the numbers are so low right now at 2 million are because people are like, well, I don't have to catch it on the initial broadcast. They either caught it earlier when it was on iPlayer, or they're like, I can catch it later in the week, which is, again, circling back to why the consolidated numbers, the 7-day consolidated numbers are the important number for me. However, there's one thing we also have to take into account. The consolidated numbers also probably count people who have watched the episode multiple times, because there are a lot of Doctor Who fans who are going to watch the episode more than once. More than once during the course of a week. If DW Fan 91 has watched Robot Revolution less than a dozen times, less than 12 times in the past week, I will be surprised. That man loves his Doctor Who. He, again, is one of the biggest #1 Doctor Who fans ever. That's why he's called, DW Fan 91, big Doctor Who fan. And I'm willing to bet he has seen this episode a dozen times. He's probably watched it a lot. He loves the show. Same thing with also fellow Who-tuber Paul Who. I guarantee he's probably seen this episode 2 or 3 times. So you're going to have these multiple viewings counting in the consolidated as well. So bumping that number up a little bit, I'm sure. So it's going to be interesting to see those numbers, because with the show so readily available, there's no excuse not to watch it. Well, I'm going to go outside. It looks real nice out today. You can pull it up and watch it on your phone while you're sitting outside. You go to the park. You get in some shade, you prop your feet up, you put your headphones in, you pull out your phone, you watch the Robot Revolution. You can do that. You can actually do that while still enjoying the outside. If the numbers are not there in the consolidated, when we get the consolidated numbers, if the numbers are not there, it's because people chose not to watch. And I get, they're like, well, it was #2 in this and #4 in that. Yay? I get most shows don't get the numbers they used to. Again, overnights. But the consolidated numbers are the true factor for me. I'm going to want to know what those are. I do think those matter. Keep in mind, a lot of these people who try to say the numbers don't matter, they're comparing it to either Classic Who, or they're comparing it to, like, David Tennant's 10th Doctor era. They're like, well, we can't expect it to get Voyage of the Damned numbers, which, for the record, wasn't like the average views we got anyway. I think Voyage of the Damned is the highest viewing figures Modern Who has had. But it's still not getting that 9, 10, 11 million that a lot of the late 2000s, early 2010s might have been getting. But even if you think about where the show was during the 60th anniversary specials, the consolidateds were still hitting 7 million. That wasn't 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because they always try to argue you can't expect it to get David Tennant numbers from 15 years ago. It's not even hitting anywhere the numbers it was hitting a year and a half ago. We're talking the 2023 60th anniversary specials with David Tennant as the 14th Doctor. We're getting, what, half of that? And it was such a drop-off between the consolidated numbers from the 60th specials to Series 1, or Season 1, I should say. Season 1, Shooty Gatwa's first season. Look at the drop-off there. Seriously, go look them up. I should have done that. I should have did this on the computer. Huge drop-off. Huge drop-off. So even just a year and a half ago, in the faraway time of 2023, a year and a half ago, the 60th anniversary specials were still getting consolidated numbers over 7 million. Over 7 million. It's going to be interesting to see where the consolidated numbers fall here. Because I don't think it'll be over 4 million. I think it'll be under 4 million. But if it is under 4 million and you're only pulling in half what you were pulling in a year and a half ago, that's a problem. That is a problem that needs to be not only acknowledged, because it does need to be acknowledged, it needs to be addressed. I'm not talking about numbers from the 70s. I'm not talking about numbers from David Tennant's 10th Doctor era. I'm talking about numbers from a year and a half ago. If your audience has smooth cut in half, if 50% of them have left, I think we need to sit down and have a talk about why. I think the people making Doctor Who need to, 1, acknowledge it, and 2, sit down and discuss why. Why are the numbers going down? Why are the numbers down 50%? What happened? What is driving people away? Why are people not coming back? Why, if new people are coming in, if they're trying to draw in that younger crowd like they claim they're trying to do, how are we losing so much of the other fan base that if we only have 50% of the viewership we had a year and a half ago, and some of that 50% is new people coming in, why have, mathematically speaking, over 50% of the people who are already there leaving? This needs to be addressed. And I think that's one of the reasons why the future of the show is so up in the air. And so we adopt a wait-and-see approach. One, to see what will happen with Doctor Who after Season 2 is over. 2, I just want to see the consolidated numbers for the Robot Revolution. I'm really curious to see what they're going to be, because I do think the numbers matter. I don't think the overnights are the biggest deal in the world, but I think the consolidated numbers matter. So that's my thoughts on it. That's my ramble on it. I want to know what you think. Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. That very much helps out and is very much appreciated. There's a link to that down there as well. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons: Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Finn Perkins, and Unknown289. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons and my YouTube members. My P.O. box is down there. My link to the a link to the Amazon wish list and the Amazon UK wish list are down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.